Big game, James Allen, all over the place when it comes to high school football. We like James to pop on a Friday and tell us what is the headline game of a Friday night or a Saturday. And here he is with the Times Union Big Game, James Allen on Big Board Sports. Good morning, James.
Morning, Roger.
How are you today? Now, I was, the truth be told, I was texting at what time in the morning last night going, hey, what's the headline game? And I figured James may not get right back to me, but he did immediately, which means you must have been in the office. At what time are we doing this? 1:20 in the morning?
1:45.
1:45.
Yep.
What are we doing? We're both up at 1:45. Crazy stuff. Anyway, let's right away ask you, what is the headline game tonight in high school football, big game?
Well, I think that you have to look at something outside of Class AA and A, and I think it's the Class C game, and it's Mechanicsville versus Holy Trinity at Catholic High. They're the only 2-0 versus 2-0 game tonight out of 20 games. Pretty meaningful game in the Central Division. Both teams are playing well. Mechanical's off to a great start with the new coach and Eric Smith, and Holy Trinity's coming off a big win against Warriors,ville, and it's a very, very important game for both teams.
And Holy Trinity starts a freshman at quarterback, correct?
Yes, correct.
And he's pretty impressive.
They've been impressive so far, and this is obviously a big test for them. They played, they had portable lights last week at Bishop Gibbons for their first home game of the season. Now they split their games between Bishop Gibbons and Catholic High. So tonight's game is against Mechanicsville over at Carly Field in Troy.
James, I got to ask you a straightforward question, and hopefully you have a straightforward answer here for me. If you had to just pick one, only one, who's the best high school football player that this area has to offer right now?
It's a tough question.
Boy, that is a direct question
I'm
from
not trying to cop out. It's just that we had so many senior players last year that were really, really good. Well, it's a really tough question. It really is. There's a couple of good players at Albany. John Germanario, quarterback at Troy. One guy I've been really impressed with, and I don't know if you could classify him that, but I think he's going to be somebody that next year, somebody that colleges are going to be talking about, is a guy that's a lineman from Saratoga by the name of Kevin Toot, and he's a junior. He's 6'5", 295, played on the championship team last year. Really good defensive tackle. I was really impressed with him week one. He's going to be playing tonight against CBA. It's our TV game up in Saratoga. He's a guy that I think colleges are going to be, clamoring for. 6'5", 295, got some strength. Certainly can move, and I think he's going to be probably somebody that's going to project more on the defensive side. But he's been very impressive to me so far.
Big game, James Allen, high school sports, high school football Friday night. Town of Colony Cup tonight. Colony at Shaker, AA school. Shaker's won the last 6 meetings. Can Colony give them a game?
I think they can give them a game, but it's imperative, Roger, they get off to a quick start. Shaker, the last few years have made this game a very one-sided affair. Last year they scored 56. Colony's really young. They've got some talent, but Shaker is a team that, when they get the advantage, they just pour it on with that wing tee, and their offense has been very, very productive so far. They haven't had to have many of these, 15-play drives. They've been able to score pretty quickly and mix in the pass and the run pretty well.
All right, another game I want to ask you about. LaSalle at Troy, first meeting since 2012. LaSalle won 14-7. Can this be a close game tonight?
Well, for LaSalle, it's imperative. They're off to an 0-2 start. They lost last week in a game that was close, the game that they certainly could have won. They've gotten off to an 0-2 start against Columbia and Schenectady, and if they're going to have any chance to make the playoffs, they're going to have to win this game. But Troy's just been on a nice roll. They had a nice comeback last week at Bethlehem, and they've been able to win not only with their offense, but their defense is starting to get better, and that's a scary proposition for the teams in the Liberty Division. And The only thing that, that probably is going to play and would potentially play in LaSalle's favor is if Troy looks ahead to next week's big matchup with Shaker. In the Liver division, it's going to probably decide who's going to be the number one seed, and that's going to be their best chance. It is a rivalry game, but Troy's looking really strong right now.
Stillwater's Dan Morris leads the area to 526 yards. How good is Dan Morris?
He's been very good. He got some time last year, some significant time at running back last year as a sophomore, and they have a new coach as well, Ian Godfrey, who used to play at Fort Edward, and they've been very impressive. They're playing Saturday against Voorheesville. He's had 565 yards in week 1 and 561 yards in week 2 and 30 carries. So he's definitely got the job done. They've really done a great job up front, Roger. Their offensive line's pretty good. And he's got an opportunity to be threatening. He has another good game on Saturday. He's got an opportunity to threaten 1,000 yards in 4 games. That's always good for anybody, no matter what level you're talking about.
Big game, James Allen. Always a pleasure every Friday here on Big Board Sports as we talk some high school sports and, in particular, high school football. Enjoy the weekend, Big Game.
You guys have fun, too. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, James.
We always do. We'll be rolling tonight with our new look, the co-anchor look on News Channel 13 for high school football.